name is Fernandes. I'm 26 years old. I was born in Abu Dhabi, lived half my life there, moved to Goa in 2009 and spent the other half of my life here. I'm actually from Saligaon, which is a quaint little village in North Goa. But I've lived all my life in Portugal and I'm now based in Portugal. I also work for FC GOA in the marketing department, and on the side, I like to run my food blog called The Hungry Wolf. Yeah, I love food, I love writing, and I initially started with just putting up, taking pictures of things that I'd eat and put it up on my personal Facebook profile. Basically, how it came to be was there was this food truck called Antoidos. The first time Antoidos ever started out was at this food and cultural festival around the same time in 2016. And I also happened to be at that festival, and it was something completely new, like a Tex-Mex truck dishing out Mexican dishes. And I mean, those guys were doing steak, like medium rare steak on a truck. So that was something that was unheard of. And at that time, I tried 6-7 dishes, I think, from that food truck. And that's when I realized I can't post about 6-7 dishes on one Facebook post. So I did a bit of research and I realized that you can open a blog website for free. I started The Hungry Wolf in 2016 when I was in my second year. Actually, a mix of things, hungry because self-explanatory, hungry all the time. And Wolf was basically, Game of Thrones was kind of peaking at that moment, and I really like how stuck with the wolves, and I really related to the wolf as an animal also. The way it roams in packs and the whole lone wolf concept and everything. So just put the two together, Hungry Wolf. Ambition, nothing really. It's just a mix of things. Funnily enough, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Wanted to become wanted to have a lightsaber and become a Jedi. But no real ambition, but I'm very happy at where I am right now. I'm working at the club I've supported, football club I've supported all my life. I'm spearheading the marketing for FC GOA, and I'm getting the best of both worlds. I'm doing football as well as food, so really happy with that. So, after 10th grade, I took up commerce, 11th and 12th in Don Bosco's. And after that, I was actually just sick of studying. I didn't want to do any exams and stuff like that. And I was kind of confused. I didn't have a clue as to what to do next. There were two paths I chose in the end. I really like writing, so I thought I could get into journalism. But there was also this BBA course, which was kind of like an extension in the commerce world. And the thing that stood out to me the most was that there was no exams in BBA. So I just went for that and stuck with that. So I did my BBA at Saraswat College in Mamsa, and the whole BBA experience was great. It benefited me a lot because aside from studying, I was a very introvertish person who wouldn't socialize a lot and stuff, but the BBA really helped me talk. I'm facing a camera right now. I couldn't even face a camera back then. So BBA helps you build your interpersonal skills and stuff. So that really helped me a lot. Goa, there's a lot of dependency on agencies. You don't see restaurants handling their own social media very often, simply because they're not that well educated. So it's difficult to convince the person. So agencies usually explain to the restaurant owners that I'm going to get a blogger for you to help promote your stuff. But they don't see why they should pay the blogger aside from giving them free food. Because they think, okay, you're writing something for me and I'm giving you free food. But that's not the point. The point is that there's money that goes into fuel. There's a lot of investment that goes into it. And at the end of the day, for example, I have a page with about 5,500 followers. Let's say I put out a post, and if 5 people from that entire page come and make separate bills at your restaurant, you're gaining 5 times more than what you invested in me. Unfortunately, this is something that a lot of people here don't understand. Maybe the agencies also could help explain it better, convince them. I think there's a lot of teaching that has to go into the industry. That's the first problem. The other problem is just there's a whole in the last 5-6 years since I've been doing this, there's been like a boom in all the bloggers. Like these days, everybody's just opening a page covering food, which is great, but there's some disparity in the whole community because, like, if I go and charge somebody for my services, there'd be 10 people who'd be ready to do it for free. So it's basically just really hard to convince people, and I think that's one of the challenges that's been there from I'd say 2016 till today. I mean, back in 2016, I was maybe about 20, 21. So there were like all these people in their mid-30s, 40s, and then there was me who was 21. So, and with no experience in either thing. So it was a bit weird at first. My parents didn't really take it that seriously because you know how parents are in India. If money is coming into something, then it's worth something. But it was complicated because what a lot of people don't realize is food bloggers actually, you do end up spending a lot of money. You're traveling to places, you spend a lot of time to write your posts. If you got a website and stuff, you're hosting a website, you're paying about 5,000, 6,000 a year or something like that. So there's actually a lot of money outgoing. So unless there's money incoming, people don't really take you serious. But I think over time, my parents realized, they got into the ecosystem, they realized how it works. And as the blog picked up, a lot of people started recognizing me at places. So there were times I'd go with my parents to eat dinner and lunch, and like, the most random people would just come up and say, "Hi, are you the Hungry Wolf? Hi, are you Akio?" And I think that's when it started hitting. And Goa is a really small place, so if you stick to your art, it's very easy to stand out over here. And you know, back in college, you have this small budget and you go out and you eat your shawarmas and you eat from the cars and you eat from the carts and you have street food. And that's what I was doing back in college. And that's why my page took off. There was a lot of other college people following me, wanting to know where you can get a nice cutlet pav, where you can get a nice shawarma. But then as the page evolved, the first, I think, 5-star hotel that invited me, or the first free review I ever had was a Grand Hyatt. They called me for this Rajasthani food festival, and it was with a lot of like big food writers and bloggers there, and I felt very out of place at the Grand Hyatt. I would say I think one of the biggest highlights of my blogging career was probably working with Antares when Antares started, because like I said in the start, I was a big MasterChef fan. I watched it for more than a decade, and I actually watched Sarah Todd as a contestant on the show. So then to see her in person and get an invite from her and to be sitting at that table and for her to come down and place a dish at you was like, I can't explain a feeling like that. So I think that's one of the highlights and one of the biggest collabs I've ever done. My top 3 cuisines are Japanese cuisine, Middle Eastern, and Italian. I'm a big fan of Japanese cuisine. My name is actually Japanese, so I love Japanese cuisine. But now, like all of you know that like Japanese food is everywhere. You go to an Asagawa, you go to the south, you go to Anjuna, you go to Panjim. There's a lot of Pan-Asian stuff, and it's getting pretty saturated. So that box is ticked. There's a lot of good Italian places, so that box is ticked. But Middle Eastern food, I'm very particular about Middle Eastern food. Obviously, I've been eating it half my life, and that's something I would really like to see. There are a few good places like Kefi in Asagaon. There's this new place called Raki in Miramar. They are pretty good, but I would like to see more of it. I'm, like I said, super particular. Even the shawarmas and stuff here come with mayo. I can't digest that because we've grown up eating shawarmas with garlic sauce, French fries, pickles, and everything in one. And yeah, like really good Middle Eastern food is something I'd like to see. There's a lot of balance that has to go in play. It's very difficult to juggle actually. So I've been freelancing since I was out of college, and back then I could do a review anytime, whether it was weekday, weekends. I usually prefer the afternoons because from the time I started till today, I still shoot with my phone, and I make it a point to shoot with my phone because I like to stay authentic and real, and I don't like to do too much of extra plating and positioning, and I want people to see exactly what they're going to get when they visit the restaurant. So the only time I get is technically a Saturday and a Sunday. And it's quite difficult to handle because there'll be a couple of invites that come and then you have just 2 days. So then you have to decide which two you can position. And that's not and that's not even including your family life and all of that. So it's pretty busy, it's pretty tight, but on my Instagram bio it says like creating content at FC GOA by the day and Hungry Wolf by the night. So that's my schedule for the week. Like Marco Pia White and Anthony Bourdain, or the late Anthony Bourdain. Sadly, I like my heroes. Like, they are two chefs I've watched constantly. They've also made appearances on MasterChef as guest chefs, and I've read their books as well. So they are like big heroes to me. Belgian waffles opened in Belgium. Like, I was one of the first to cover it. So I always had this itch of when anything new opened in Goa, I would go and cover it and be the first to get the hits. So when Belgian waffles opened and the guy came to know, so there were these mini pancakes that were there, which were not actually available that day, but that was the reason why I went for that. So I don't usually tell people I'm a blogger, but I just told him that, listen, I run a food page and I'd love to try the mini pancakes if it's available. And then he actually made it for me, and he made me another edition of some Rocky Road something, and he put a lot of sauce, he made it very fancy. And I put it up, the post did very well, but then a lot of people actually came back to me and were slating me because they were like, I had the exact same thing you had, but it was not even half as good. It didn't even look half as good as that. So that's also one of the reasons why I like, if you notice my page, you'll see there's zero presence of me on the page. There's no pictures, there's no videos, because I want the food to stand out for itself, and I don't want my identity to influence the quality of the food. I'd really like to shout out Uncle Tim's here in Porvorim. It's a fantastic place, very similar to me. He's a guy who has not gone to culinary college. He's just a food lover who's traveled the world, eaten a lot of good food. And he's from Abu Dhabi as well. So he opened a place here in his house. He does a lot of good meat. He's very good with his meats when it comes to pork, beef, and chicken and all of that. They have a charcoal grill, they do steaks, they do burgers, they have quiz nights. And it's a place, I think, twice or thrice a month now I visit. And I rarely visit places again and again. Shout out to him because I think he has the best steak in Goa. I'm very particular about my steak. I like it medium rare. If it's slightly over or slightly underdone, it doesn't work for me. I'd definitely like to shout out Uncle Tim's here in Porvorim. It's a fantastic... I'd love to go abroad at some point. It's been on the table for a few years now. But like I said, right now I'm living my dream, football and food on one side. But I'd definitely like to go abroad. I don't know whether I would return to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, or I'd head to Europe. I'm a Manchester City fan when it comes to football. I have a big obsession with that city. I've got a whole tattoo from here to here of relating to Manchester and City. So one dream I've had is to move to England at least for a year and be a season ticket holder at the club, so I can just watch every single game for an entire year. But where it goes from there, I'm not sure. I'd really like to stay in sports and football. I think that's where I found my true calling. In terms of the food thing, I like it at where it's at right now. I wouldn't want to go full-time into it. In my marketing job, I do a lot of videos. I direct a lot of write scripts, and basically any video that you see on FC GOA that is shot is directed and executed by me. So I would like to open a YouTube channel. I think videos is the way forward. I would like to do more reels. I grew up watching a lot of cooking shows. I grew up watching a lot of travel and cooking shows. So I think one dream would definitely be to travel across the world and have a show of my own where I can show people my experiences. From the start, I've never gone with the flow and gone with the crowd. And I think that's what helped me stand out. I may not have 20, 30,000 followers, but my 5,000 followers probably have more of an impact than someone who has 30,000 people, simply because it's genuine people following a genuine page. Like I said, my identity doesn't influenced my page. It's just the food.